Okay then guys, what is going on? Cloud Plays here and welcome back to another video here on the channel. And today we're inside of the day before and Fantastic's drama show that seems to hopefully be coming to an end as we manage to find the final figures revolving around Fantastic. Now there was an article that has recently been updated that started off with the main profit margins for Fantastic as an overall, stating that they made $3.4 million in 2022, which would imply that this year probably went down quite well. We're going to take a look over the news and the drama that's revolved around this right now and see exactly what it is that's happened in the last 24 hours. So with that being said, if you haven't already, smash that beautiful blue thumbs up and subscribe with post notifications turned on. It'd be greatly appreciated. On top of that, check out our sponsor, Advanced GG, the #1 clinically proven energy supplement on the market. My favorite flavor is cherry vanilla, but you guys can catch an array of flavors via the link in the description. With that being said, make sure you use code CLOUD at checkout and we can dive on into it. So there is an article right here that was posted up on Yahoo News that seemed to have a bit of a number generator to it. This stuff is ridiculous and there's receipts and there is main movements around it. It's crazy. He states right here, I tried visiting the day before developer Fantastic's offices in Singapore and this is what I found. According to financial records filed with Singapore authorities, a studio headed by the Gotavezev, I butcher it every time, brothers made 3.4 million Singapore dollars in 2022. Now, for those of you guys who don't know conversion rates, it will equate to about $2.5 million just in 2022 alone, and that was without this massive banger of a hit that managed to pull off. Now, there was an update to this story as an overall, and we're going to go through it from the beginning of it, because the story's been updated to reflect new information about the Fantastic's funding, but this is actually really interesting to see how it is that the brothers actually provided with the movements for the company. Now, by now, most gamers would have heard the recent disaster in the video game industry, and so bad that Steam, the publishing platform, refunded all who purchased the day before without question. Having heard the news in Singapore, headquartered game developer Fantastic was shutting down just days after launch its zombie survival MMO quotation, which we've done a whole video on that. It's definitely not an MMO and it was never meant to be. If you guys haven't seen it, we will leave a annotation in the top right corner now, or you'll find the video on my channel that we uploaded yesterday. But he decided to pay a visit to their office to see if there was any truth in the rumors swirling online around the company's operations. I expected to see a typical game dev studio, except that empty desks and perhaps game developers looking dejected as the pondering their life choices. I also expected to see a funky office with posters of the game's artwork around. What I saw at Fantastic's offices in s.t.a.l.k.e.r was that, however, the truth is a lot more mundane. Having found their business address via Singapore's Accounting and Corporate Regulatory Authority, the ACRA, I popped by their office, which was located inside a mixed retail space in s.t.a.l.k.e.r, an area in the central region of Singapore. I tried looking for the company's name at the tenant directory, only to discover it was a co-op working space. Since that was the case, I figured there was no harm to head up and look around. I had also planned to check in with the other tenants should staff from Fantastic not be around. Alas, I was greeted by the co-op's cheerful centre manager, who told me that Fantastic merely used the co-op's address as a virtual office space. That possibly rules out having staff here who were working on the game. I also looked up their original address based on their filings via Google Maps, which puts them in Peninsula Plaza. However, a quick check online in the building's online directory showed no such tenant. Instead, the original address belongs to a management consultancy. Now that on its own should scream red flags. This sort of development company, it was working out of a rental office space with no real sort of like pride to the main development process, and it just seems like they kind of just got an office and told people to get on with it, and they had volunteers getting their work done for absolutely no money at all. So as we dive on a little bit deeper into it, we can kind of see exactly what it was like, especially as an ex-Fantastic developer actually came out and spoke publicly about what it was like working for the brothers inside of Fantastic. But we're going to talk about the finances according to the main filings right now with regards to Fantastic Studios. And it states right here, based on the original filing for the company's incorporate, Fantastic PTE Limited has two directors, Edward and his brother Asen. Edward is known as the CEO of the company and recently disabled his Twitter account while limiting his LinkedIn page after the fiasco with the day before started. Now, according to the filing, they both put in a 50,000 Singapore dollars, which again for conversion rate is about $35,000 US, each in capital. I was unable to ascertain if this total of 100,000 Singapore dollars was a minimum required for work or residency purposes. The most probable work pass for such individuals to attain is the Enter Pass, which the Ministry of Manpower states is for serial entrepreneurs, high caliber innovators, or experienced investors that want to operate a business in Singapore that is ventured backed or owns innovative technologies. However, I was unable to verify if either of the brothers or anyone else in the company had used this path to attain a work pass in Singapore. And as you can see, we obviously have the detailed profit and loss accounts with the main movements as far as their financial statements go for 2021 to 2022 December. Now, it gets all the more interesting when Fantastic filed a 3.4 million Singapore dollars or a 2.5 million US in 2022 revenue. Both paid directors 200,000 Singapore dollars and spent 308 Singapore dollars for travel. Lastly, according to the Fantastic's financial filings for 2002, the company made 3.4 Singapore millions in revenue, while also spending 1.6 million in Singapore dollars for cost of sales. After taxes and expenses, Fantastic was left with around 804,000 Singapore dollars. This included paying both the directors 200,000 and the expense of around 308,000 for travel expenses. The business doesn't appear to have paid for any staff based on Singapore. Fantastic was also able to secure funding of 481,000 via a term loan. Now, according to the supposed leaked Discord screenshots on Reddit, the day before has sold 201,000 copies and 91,000 refunded. That's still around 110,000 copies sold, or around 4.3 million US dollars. However, it is likely Fantastic will not be seeing this due to Steam's refund policies and the fact that they have pledged to refund everyone. Still, the company did have around $3.4 million in revenue, which may have come from Russian publisher Mytona. Fantastic's statement allude as much, stating that the game is fully funded by Mytona, on one of the largest mobile publishers in the world, who check the game's build at every milestone per our contract. Now, furthermore, the company's balance sheet showed that it was 1.4 million US dollars cash in bank. Even with the loan it took, there may also debunk the company's statement that the business lacks the funds to continue. It is also unclear what debts the business has aside from the term loan. It should still have enough cash to repay the loan if, like according to the filings, it has no staff locally to pay off. It remains to be seen if either or both of the brothers will use the remaining cash to start a new business and launch new quote-unquote games. It does look like they've already started changing the studio's name on Steam back to 8 Points, a name which was previously used. Now, this whole article is absolutely crazy, just solely on the basis of the number crunch, and this was kind of glad that it kind of came up, because for me, I'm never going to be able to crunch these sorts of numbers. It's not really something I'm that good at. But as an overall $1.4 million cash banked from the end of this, and it does look like that they have obviously regenerated the company through to 8 Points, which will essentially mean that they are going to be redeveloping and producing games again, which is dangerous beyond belief, especially for people like these guys. These guys are absolute scam artists, and how the hell they're managing to make it in the gaming world is absolutely beyond me, to say the least. Now, there is, on the other hand, some more news that is coming out with regards to Fantastic Brothers, and I think the sole movement of this is that they don't have any staff locally to pay off. Now, if it would mean that if there are any volunteers left and they were being paid, which it definitely looks like they were not, then these guys are going to be dotted around the world somewhere working virtually, which is bonkers beyond belief. Now, that's all unfortunately we've got time for today. It is interesting to see what's happening around Fantastic, and that the fact that they may still have money to come back in a new light and just be a little bit more careful and probably not show their faces again. This is going to be an interesting one, guys. I will see you guys in the next 24 hours to see what it is that they do next. Thank you so much again for watching. If you haven't already, smash that like button, subscribe, post notifications turned on. Appreciate your faces. And as always, I'll see you in the clouds.